I like to make things myself if at all possible. Many times you can make something yourself a lot cheaper than you can buy it from the store. Sometimes you may need something right quick and you don't have a couple of days or a week to wait to place an order on the internet and wait for something to come in. And of course the day may come where you may not be able to order something from a trap and supply house on the internet, and you may have to make do with what you have. One of the things that I make a lot of are conibear supports. Now this is something that I use for my smaller conibears, the 110s, 120s, something like that. I don't use these for 280s or 330s or the bigger Bodygrip traps. And basically all it is a piece of tubing. Now this is some clear vinyl tubing that I had left over from a project. This is 1 inch external diameter, I believe outside diameter, 3/4 inch internal diameter. The diameter of the tubing really is not that important. What's more important is that it be stiff enough to hold a Bodygrip trap but flexible enough to work with easily. If you don't have vinyl tubing, a lot of times you can use pieces of an old garden hose or what have you. It's only limited by your imagination and by the composition of the material. But basically all you do is you cut about a 3-inch section of hose or tubing, and on this I've just got it screwed down to a piece of board for demonstration purposes. But in the field, what I would do is I would take a nail and nail it to a tree or to a limb, wherever I'm going to put my small conibear. You can use a roofing tack since it has a wide head, or if you've just got regular nails you could hammer it in and then bend the head over, or you could use a washer or what have you. But you want to make sure that you got something on there that won't go completely through the tubing, that will actually hold the tubing. Now you can see this tubing is a little bit flexible, but it's got enough stiffness to actually hold the trap when I set it. And so once I've got my support screwed in, then all I'm going to do is mount my Bodygrip like so. And you can see this tubing right here is much smaller. This is a 1-inch tubing, and I think this was 5/8 inches. But you can see it works just fine. And all you're doing is putting the bars of the conibear underneath the tubing like so. And you can see that's plenty strong. It's going to hold it. It's going to hold it in place. So you can mount this on vertically on the side of a tree, or just about any angle that you wanted to mount it on. Now one of the things to be aware of, if you'll notice how this tubing sort of curves up once the jaws are underneath it, you need to make sure that your trigger wires are spread apart so that they're not dead in the center and get hung up on your tubing. Let me zoom in. There. You can see how that works. The other thing to be aware of is that a lot of times this vinyl tubing will get very stiff in cold temperatures. I use this same type of tubing in a much smaller diameter for my snare supports, and once the temperatures get down into the 30s or below, that tubing gets really stiff and it can be a little hard to work with. So if you're trapping in an area where the temperature is going to be below freezing, well below freezing for extended periods of time, this may not be the best option for you, because that tubing can get stiff and lose its resiliency. But if you're in an area where the temperatures are going to be up and down and that's not that big of a concern, this is an excellent way to support your Bodygrip traps. The reason I like to use these instead of a store-bought conibear holder is that a store-bought support can cost $1, $1.25 a piece, and I'm the kind of person that once I'm out in the woods and I nail it to a tree, I'm not going to spend the time to claw at it and try and pry it out and straighten it out and reuse it. So once I nail it into the tree, the support is basically there. And so I believe this tubing you can buy it at Home Depot or Lowe's, I think 36 cents a foot, and so you can get 4 of them for 36 cents. So you're paying less than a dime a piece compared to $1 a piece. And so they're a lot more economical. This way I can go out, hammer it into a tree, put my trap on it, and when I'm done with my catch or done with the set, I don't have to worry about taking it out of the tree. And if I come back next year, it'll be there. And if not, I'm out a dime. So that's a big difference between that and being out of $1. I mean, if you're going to spend $1 and throw it away on every set, if you run 100 sets, that's $100. So just something to think about there. But anyway, this is just a little tip, and I thought I would pass it on.